Good old death battle. Let's
Deku,
get
My
it.
Hero Academia's super student straight out of UA High.
Asta, the anti-magical ass kicker from Black Clover.
Though you
Our early prediction, I think Asta's gonna win this. Just because I don't see any way that Deku could win. I don't see any abilities or like overall physical strength that he could just win. I don't see it. So my winner off rip is Asta.
You may be born bereft of the same gifts as your peers, there is nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams.
As long as you're a fictional character in a fantasy world. I
They
mean,
both got
as
the
long
full
as you've
form,
got
though.
your friends by your side, you'll pack a hell of a punch. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Yeah, I am a menace. Keep me alright.
What's good, YouTube? Back here with another video. Before we get to the video, man, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also follow me on my Instagram. Also follow me on my Twitch too. If you like IRL content, you got your favorite groups like AMP.
Yeah, I think y'all boyfriend just bumped left y'all.
Yeah, they did. Well, they're good.
That's insane. All that stuff. You're gonna follow me on my other channel. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this video.
Izuku Midoriya wanted only one thing from life: to be a beacon of hope, just like his idol.
I'm not gonna lie, in this part, bro, when he found out he didn't have a quirk was probably like top 3 saddest moments of this fucking show. Because that shit was so fucking sad.
The #1 ranked superhero in Japan, All Might.
Too bad he was born a freak with no powers. You heard right. This is like a reverse X-Men thing where 80% of the population gets red superpowers, or quirks as they're called, while the remaining fifth are stuck as basic bitches, or as his spiky-haired bully Bakugo called him, Deku.
That's a pun on the Japanese word dekunobu, meaning good for nothing.
Damn.
Persevering despite his basic bitchedness, Midoriya got the chance to prove his quirkless heroic mettle against this giant sludge monster, much to the surprise of one particular
He is
almighty
indeed the biggest All
onlooker.
Might fan
His
ever.
body secretly decaying from a horrific injury, All Might needed to find the one who would inherit his all-powerful quirk.
And All Might didn't want just anybody. The hero world was filled with glory seekers in it for fame and money. All Might wanted someone whose body moved on its own to save someone.
He wanted somebody who did it for the love of the game. That's all he needed. Somebody who did it for the love of the game. And Deku was definitely the one that did it for the love of the game.
He saw exactly that in young Midoriya, and gave him one of the most powerful quirks in the world, one for all.
That was the problem. Even after bulking up from lad to Chad, the recoil from even one punch would shatter all the bones in his arm. So he trained to be able to handle his gift at the superhero school of his dreams, UA High.
And that's when he decided to own the name used as a cudgel against him for
I'm gonna lie, Deku got high pain tolerance if you think about it, bro. It took him a minute before like he stopped breaking limbs and fucking fingers and muscles and all that. It took him a minute. So he has high pain tolerance. I'll give him that.
so many years. Turns out, Deku can also be an abbreviation for Dekiru, someone who can do anything.
Exactly the opposite of Dekunobu. One for All allows Deku to release absolutely absurd amounts of strength from different parts of his body, with super moves named after US cities and states.
Deku still can't access all of his power safely though. Using 100% will quickly destroy his body, which is why he learned to distribute his strength evenly across his body, a technique known as full cowling. This lets him increase his speed and durability as well, making him more all-rounded, and shifting focus to his own interpretation of One for All inspired by his pal Ida, shoot style.
Where he pulls out a Glock and blows your brains out. Okay, not really, but in keeping with One for All's rabbit theme, he trades All Might's signature punches for kicks. My version's better. You ever seen Rabbit vs. Gun? I have, and I know how it plays out.
Yeah.
Considering the much higher muscle mass of a human's legs, shoot style allowed Deku to output even more power while giving his arms a break. A break from a break.
And despite being a classic melee build, Deku can fight at range by punching powerful gusts of air and even precisely aim them with specially designed gloves.
Deku has an encyclopedic knowledge of quirks and is always analyzing their strengths and weaknesses mid-battle, even if he does sound a little weird.
Despite only barely getting accepted in the first place, Deku quickly became one of Class 1A's most dependable fighters. Because, yeah, somehow these students are constantly getting drafted into literal wars against murderous supervillains.
Honestly, if I was in like UA, like after that year 1A had, I wouldn't even like cross a paths for real, bro. Y'all got it, bro. Y'all got it. All of y'all.
Midoriya's successes in battle against ruthless criminals like Stain, Muscular, and
Like, they beat
Overhaul
everybody.
came much to his old bully's chagrin. Where Bakugo was a child prodigy, he now found himself overshadowed by his hard-working rival, and the two would use their mutual respect and animosity to motivate each other to get stronger.
Classic frenemies. They're only solving their problems by pounding the living tar out of each other.
Luckily for him, Deku soon learned that living tar pounding wasn't the only thing he could do. Turns out, One for All did not originate with All Might. It had been passed down 8 times until it arrived at Deku, with each inheritance also carrying the previous user's natural quirk as well.
Like Black Whip, which lets him manifest crazy long and strong energy tendrils to tie enemies up and swing around the city, or shoot one out of his mouth, just like our girl Fruppy.
And Danger Sense, which gives him a minor reactive precognition.
AKA, he's Spider-Man. Not even a reach.
Danger Sense is so
Mangaka like
broken.
the biggest Spidey
Danger
fan ever.
Sense is
He
so
can also produce a
broken.
smoke screen to mask his presence, float in midair, or store up kinetic energy over time with Fa Jin.
Like that. By storing up enough, he can even match All Might's max power without any recoil to boot. Strong enough to change the weather and create city block-sized tornadoes with a single punch.
Wow, I think Fa Jin first, and then Danger Sense. As far as quirks go, that like is OP as fuck. Like OP as fuck.
Even stronger with his newest quirk, Gear Shift, which allows him to increase the speed of an object anytime he touches it.
Gear
In
Shift
conjunction
2.
with the power of All for One, he can use this to warp reality itself. Deku can go toe-to-toe with arch-villains like Shigaraki, who's fast enough to react to and catch laser beams with his bare hands.
But nothing could prepare him for All Might's archenemy, the shadowy leader of the League of Villains, All for One.
All Might only ever showed his young pupil kindness and support, but that couldn't change the absolutely crushing pressure Deku felt at every moment.
Even classically trained dickhead Bakugo came to help his teammate out when he needed it.
I ain't gonna lie,
Like when they
that Deku was
teamed up
real.
to share One for All and punch an island-sized hole in the clouds 24 miles high.
Just goes to show that even One for All isn't a one-man army. Deku's true strength comes from his teamwork between himself and his friends.
And with their help, Deku will surely become that beacon of hope he dreamt about as a child.
One hero for all mankind.
Magic! You know it, you love it, and in the world of Black Clover, it doesn't come from a box you bought at a tacky West Hollywood costume shop. Everyone's got it.
Mana
What?
is the source of all magic, a supernatural energy found in the air and in living beings. Except living beings whose names are Asta.
Not only was the young Asta an orphan
What you
abandoned,
gotta think about? That's crazy though. Like Asta is literally the only one that doesn't have any type of mana, any type of magic. Deku's not the only one that's not quirkless. There's a couple people who aren't quirkless in that. But Deku's literally, I mean not Deku, Asta's literally the only one.
by his mother at a church as a baby, he was born with a mutation that prevents him from having any mana to speak of. Well, neither do I, and you don't hear me crying about it.
Yes, you do, all of the time. But Asta had a dream. Despite his lack of magic, he and his best friend Yuno promised each other one of them would rise to the throne of the greatest military position in the land, the Wizard King. Wizard King? Really, guys? Sometimes they call it Magic Emperor, but we all know what they mean.
So he dedicated himself to getting swole as all hell. In a world of nerds, he would be its lone jock god, shoving every last wizard into a locker until they crowned him.
To be fair, him and Yami are the only like actual muscle heads in the show. Like they got, and that's why they got all the hoes.
King.
But huge, frightening pectorals on a tiny, screaming goblin child weren't enough on its own. He needed something powerful enough to shut down his opponent's magic.
he needed the 5-leaf Clover Grimoire.
Essentially a book of spells, a grimoire will choose its user and float beside their wielder at all times.
And Asta was lucky enough to receive the Uno Reverse card of Grimoires. The 5-leaf Clover can harness the power of anti-magic, which will literally nullify the effect.
Nah, that wasn't it, my boy. That's not what the 5-leaf Clover Grimoire is. It's literally the devil. it's literally the devil. It's not a anti-magic thing. And his specifically was anti-magic only because there's literally a devil in there. But nah, that's a strictly devil.
Of other magic spells, almost like wizard kryptonite. Let the locker stuffing commence. Haha, get nerds!
It wasn't long before Asta was accepted into one of the 9 squads of Clover Kingdom's Magic Knights, the Black Bulls, filled with lazy drunkards, antisocial otakus, and literal sociopaths.
My kind of people! Yep, mostly. But much like with Asta, you shouldn't judge a grimoire by its cover. And soon they were all working together and kicking ass like a family should.
Asta harnesses the power of anti-magic by summoning swords imbued with it from the grimoire. Normally, these swords would quickly drain the mana from anyone foolish enough to wield them, but Asta does not have any mana, turning his greatest weakness into a one-of-a-kind strength.
Yeah.
He's got his classic Demon Slayer, an enormous greatsword which cuts through spells with its edge and deflects them with its flat. Or the Demon Dweller, which can also absorb and copy magic, then toss it right back to sender.
I think my personal favorite
got
is
so
the more
many
complex
broken
Demon
abilities.
Destroyer, which severs the relationship between a spell's cause and effect, countering the effects of its magic. This could result in anything from healing a village that was inflicted with poison to preventing reincarnation.
Yeah, okay,
It's
some of these
crazy.
can get a little heady. I personally prefer keeping it simple, like using anti-magic telekinesis to surf on your sword through the sky.
It's worth noting that these swords are made specifically for countering magical attacks and sources of mana. The swords will act as though blunted when striking non-magical foes, more akin to giant clubs than actual blades. Not entirely inconsistent with real-life greatswords.
But none of that's even close to as cool as his deadliest sword, the
Nah, that
Demon
katana's
Slasher.
crazy.
A katana as black as the pits of hell and twice as badass.
This one actually does cut like a sword, but it's complicated. It lets Asta actually select what he does and does not want to cut, only affecting his target while leaving anything else unharmed.
Okay, at this point, isn't that just magic?
Magic
Kind
with
of.
a loophole.
And he studied the blade long enough to become a master swordsman to boot. Not in the real life sense, in the anime sense.
He can spin himself like a tornado to deflect magic spells, thrust forward at top speed like a charging bull, launch a barrage of anti-magic projectiles, and even channel anti-magic into his swords to vastly increase their size.
Well, while he may be no good with mana, he has learned to detect ki. Because, of course,
The life force existing in all things.
Nah,
Asta
he
can
is
detect
broken.
hidden opponents and even
He is
predict their
broken,
movements
bro.
ahead of time, as long as he's fast enough to react.
with such crazy powers, Asta was taking on threats like the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the Devil Zagrid, and the Dark Triad. So many nerds, never enough lockers. Too bad for Asta, though. He had one serious inner demon.
Literally, housed within the 5-leaf Clover grimoire was Liba, a demon exiled from hell for completely lacking magical powers, and who just so happened to get adopted by Asta's mother.
Until he got possessed by a different demon and killed her. Vowing vengeance on all demonkind, Liba manifested anti-magic from his hatred as a way to kick their asses.
I ain't gonna lie, that's the greatest show of hate I've ever seen. If you think about it, like, he was so mad at Lucifer. He hated Lucifer so much. He said, "All right, I'm going to literally hate you, hate a counter into existence to screw you guys over." Like, I aspire to be that level of hate.
Which gave him and Asta a lot of common ground, despite the whole, mom murder thing.
In fact, the two became true brothers and formed an unstoppable duo. Liba can actually fully merge with Asta for a massive power boost that lasts up to 5 minutes, at the cost of leaving Asta nearly powerless for the next half hour.
Come on, I want it. Yeah, I'll take it if I get to be strong enough to slice buildings to pieces, obliterate huge chunks of earth, and tear the most powerful demons apart. Give me the goddamn book.
I'm the book boy, okay? Even characters earlier in the series like Patoli had magic capable of completely vaporizing the entire Clover Kingdom in a single attack. And demons that Asta has fought since then, like Dante and Lucifero, are leagues stronger.
Hell, screw all these demon forms and anti-magic powers. Asta's body is so incredibly well trained, he dodged a beam of light while sleeping. As in, he was asleep, and the force of his sneeze pushed his head out of the way of a beam of light. Light speed sneezes, everyone.
And despite his headstrong and irritating personality,
AKA screaming at the top of his lungs
Yo,
as
that's the
often
one
as
guy do hate about
possible.
Asta.
Asta's an
He be
intelligent
screaming like a
fighter who has
motherfucker.
leveraged his skill against far more experienced foes.
But he wouldn't be anywhere without the ragtag band of deviants he calls friends. With them at his side, there's no way he won't climb the ranks to take the Wizard King's throne, especially with Yuno pushing them both to get stronger.
Unlike other classic shonen rivalries, this one isn't tainted by antagonism. They truly want what's best for each other, even if they're competing for the same throne.
Yuno's gonna need all the luck he can get, cause even if Asta never gets mana of his own, his true magic is never given up.
All right,
Like-
the combatants are set.
like I
We've
said-
run the data through all.
I got Asta. I just think Asta is far stronger than Deku, and he has way more hacks than Deku. It's gonna be tough though, but I got Asta.
Possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
It should be a good one. It should be a very good death battle.
Give it up for our 26th World Martial
Sword that big? He's gotta be crazy strong. I'm gonna have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
It's so in character.
Just gotta hit him really hard. Man, this guy can give even Luck a run for his money.
He eating them bitches, so I give him that. Dang.
Aren't swords supposed to be sharp? His speed isn't slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me!
Dangerousness is such a cheat code.
Now it's my turn!
Wait! Are you not using magic? What kind of magic emperor would I be if I can't beat a guy like this? Detroit Smash!
You ate that bitch.
Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash!
Asta's eating that bitch though.
Detroit
Asta's eating that bitch though.
I don't know what Detroit is, but I've had enough of it. I'm ending this quick! Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down!
Nah, that clash is crazy. Dang.
No use not going all out anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard!
You wanted my best? Here it is! 1,000,000,000% plus ultra!
That joint tough.
I did it!
Yeah.
Take that, Detroit
Yeah, I knew it, bro. Deku just wasn't strong enough, to be fair. Even if Asta can't negate anything Deku's doing, he's just not strong enough. Not Deku, Asta's just ridiculously strong. Why is this kid in here? Why is this thing in here?
KO! Poor Deku. He tried his best, but Asta just shoved him into that great big locker in the sky.
Both Deku and Asta were fairly evenly matched melee fighters without any specific abilities to give one an easy edge over the other. Though, to be fair, the variety of quirks Deku inherited from past users of One For All did make him more versatile and unpredictable.
Plus, quirks are biological mutations, not connected to some supernatural energy source like mana, so Asta's anti-magic powers were basically useless here.
And Deku was generally a smarter and more tactical fighter, but against Asta's incredible might, this time brawn beat brains.
Let's crunch some numbers! Deku's greatest feat of strength was splitting that enormous cloud formation with Bakugo.
By measuring the size of the island and comparing it to the clouds above, we can determine they dispersed over 63 trillion kilograms of water.
That's the weight of the Great Pyramid of Giza! 12,000 of them!
And required an energy of nearly 80 teratons of TNT per punch.
Let's compare that to Asta. But Toli's spell was going to be strong enough to vaporize a country the size of the Clover Kingdom.
We can use this map from the manga to estimate the size of Clover Kingdom to be about 500 kilometers in diameter, about half the length of Great Britain. Vaporizing a country of that size would require an energy of over 480 teratons of TNT,
that's a lot.
over 6 times greater than Deku's punch.
While Asta uses anti-magic, it isn't an automatic counter. It needs to be comparable.
But that wasn't his feat, though. That was Julius, though. Julius stopped that. How is Asta getting credit? I mean, I get Asta probably could block it, but like Julius.
In strength to the spell it's combating, and Asta's gotten way stronger since.
Asta was also quicker. Sure, scaling to Shigaraki would give Deku roughly light speed reaction time,
but Asta could dodge light in his sleep, and that's his base form, even before transforming with Lipa to get way faster.
And since Deku and Asta's precognitive abilities more or less matched each other, it was only a matter of time before Asta simply overwhelmed him.
Especially since Deku has struggled in the past against faster opponents. Sure, Deku was smarter, but if he literally didn't have enough time to come up with a plan of attack before getting hammered, his brains were wasted.
Deku's tactical brilliance and harem-scarum tenacity definitely gave his opponent a run for his money, but Asta's raw power, blinding speed, and deadlier weaponry spelled the end for All Might's pupil.
Deku gave it his all, and I wish he had won. Hasta la vista.
The winner is Asta.
I call
to Morocco. I got pretty women showing titties like I'm Flacco. I came in a hard top, I'm still in the drop.